Hey guys, welcome to another video. So in today's video I want to run through a free alternative to the Jungle Scout Chrome extension and give you a comparison of the two, just so you can compare the features and functionality between the two. The biggest difference really not so much on the features and the functionality, but on price. The Jungle Scout Chrome extension, depending on which one you get, the Lite is $97 and then the Professional is $197, and the Helium10 Chrome extension, X-Ray as they call it, is free. So I'm going to compare the two for you. You can make your own decision as to which one you think is better and if it's worth buying the Jungle Scout Chrome extension, or if you're happy to just use the Helium10. I personally use both, but I'm going to run through both of them for you and then you can make the call. I'll also leave a link down in the description if you are interested in downloading the Helium10 XRAY Chrome extension. The first thing I'll do is open up the Jungle Scout Chrome extension and I'll run through what each of these are very briefly. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, as you can see anyway, but it will just save me explaining everything twice, because once you see the Helium10 Chrome extension you're going to see that a lot of these are pretty much the same anyway, and it'll just save me explaining everything twice. Okay, so the first one, product name, as I said, pretty self-explanatory. You can go through, you can see what each of them is, and then on the right hand side over here you're going to be able to see just a brief overview of what each one is. The average star, rating, price, you know, just the basic kind of information from each listing. If you click on this, then it's going to open up a window and it's going to take you into that specific listing on the Amazon website. Over here, if you click on any of these, as you can see, it's going to say add to your product tracker, and that's if you've got the web app, which is a completely separate thing, but you can add it to your list, and then any products that you think are of interest to you, or if you're doing your product research, any reason that you want to save it, you can save them into lists and then come back to them at a later date. Over here, as you can see, the price for each item, the category for which it's in, and that's going to be the top category, not the subcategory. The rank, this is pretty interesting to keep an eye on, particularly if you're doing your product research. And over here, this really here is the main thing that I focus on, this side of the screen. And you can sort these, you can click on these. One of the first things I will typically do is click on the revenue, sort by the size, because obviously, you know, we want to be selling products that are selling high volumes and making good sales, you know, making good amounts of sales each month. So here you can see this particular product is ranked 11,499 in the clothing section or clothing category, and it's making $58,568 of revenue, so that's sales amount per month. It's got 2,622 reviews on this particular listing, 4-star rating, average 4-star rating. This, I'm not sure why it's not loaded it up. Fees, $18.90, so they're selling it for $50.99 and they're paying $18.90 in Amazon fees. And over here you can see the listing quality score. I'll leave that up for a second just so you can read it, but this is basically a score out of 10. So as you can see, this one is a 4. That basically means that there's a lot of room for improvement on that particular listing. So if, for example, you were going to sell these and try and compete, you can take a look at their listing and you can see what you can do better. And a lot of the time it's a lot of basic stuff that people just overlook. They don't use all 7 images, or the images are not of a good quality. They don't put all the bullet points in. There's various different things that you can improve on. And up here, opportunity score, I don't take too much notice of this, but it is a pretty good guideline. Okay, so enough with the Jungle Scout Chrome extension, and let's get into the Helium10 XRAY. So as you're going to see, it's very similar looking to the Jungle Scout Chrome extension, with exception for a few things which I'll explain to you. One of which is this, the search volume. So as you saw earlier, I searched on men's winter coats within Amazon, and the search volume on that, the monthly search volume, is 3,558, and that's very useful for when you're doing your product research and also your keyword research as well. You're going to need that for both of those. So let's get down into the various different details and information that it provides. All of these pretty much the same thing. You know, you're going to get pretty much the same data. It will vary slightly, and the reason for that is because Helium10 actually go and extract the data out of Amazon itself. They currently extract, the last I heard, is 490 million products. So it's actually going to Amazon and pulling this data out. All of this data is real information which is updated, as opposed to with Jungle Scout, it's not true data. It's done on averages, and from what I've heard and various different things that I've read, it's information which is based off of the BSR. So whatever the BSR rating on a particular product is, it gives an average of what it thinks the sales are based on the position of that BSR. I won't go through and explain each and every one of these again, because as I said a little bit earlier on, a lot of the information is very similar, with exception for a couple, and I'll go through those. One of which is the buy box, which is very important. You're always going to want to know who's getting the buy box, because obviously when you're selling your product, you're going to be wanting to make sure that you get the buy box. You don't really want to be sharing the buy box with other people. So this is an important one. Another one that I find very useful, particularly when I'm doing product research, is the number of sellers. So for example, this one, whatever this product is here, this jacket, there's 16 sellers. So if you were to try and sell that or something very comparable to that, you're going to be against pretty steep competition. I always, ideally, particularly with private labeling, that's one of the benefits, is really you want to be the only seller. But for me, particularly when I'm doing the product research and I want to find out if something is seasonal, is this here. And I'll show you, let's try and find, this was the reason why I picked men's winter coats, because it's the middle of August at the moment. So obviously you would assume that men's winter coats aren't going to be selling as well in the middle of the summer. But here you can see whether something is seasonal or not. So let's just take a look at one of these. You can see the small graphs here, but if you click on it, it's going to pull out the data, and then you're going to be able to get a better look. I always do all time. Obviously that's going to vary depending on how long that product has been sold, but you're going to be able to see the peaks and valleys, and that's going to tell you whether it's a seasonal product or not. So as you would expect with men's winter coats or anything that is traditionally seasonal, you're going to be expecting it to have highs and lows depending on what the product is. If it's something that's predominantly used in the summer months, then you would expect it to pick up in the summer, and vice versa for winter. So just reviewing this, you can see big peaks and valleys, which is what you would expect to see, you know, and you can see these sales dying off as you're coming out of the colder months. You can see it dying off. It's not going to give you all the information that you need if you're doing your product research, but it gives you a good idea. Some things, they're pretty obvious, like this, which is why I used it as an example for men winter coats. You would expect it to be seasonal, but with a lot of other products, you need to check this, because you may not realize that it's seasonal. And I hear a lot of people are always asking me why their products aren't selling as well. And when you run it through this, they've started selling a product which they didn't realize was seasonal, and the reason that they're not getting as many sales is because the sales of that product in general are just dying off throughout that season. So this is very, very useful. Just 1 or 2 clicks just to double check before you go and order hundreds or thousands from a manufacturer. You want to make sure that you know it's seasonal. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with selling seasonal products, you just need to know what you're getting into. You can make a lot of money very quickly if you're selling the right thing in the right season, or you can have an evergreen product which sells year round. It just depends what you want to be getting yourself into. More importantly though, you just want to know what you're getting yourself into. If you know it's a seasonal product and you're going to be selling huge amounts throughout the winter months, then that's fine. You know, you just need to have more inventory in the warehouses and know that your sales are going to die off throughout the spring and summer months. And this up here, this is somewhat similar to on Jungle Scout as well. As you can see, it's still in beta mode at the moment. This Chrome extension is relatively new, so as you can see, it is still in beta mode. But this, if I can just pull it up here, this is going to explain to you what it is. And again, just give you a very brief overview. You never want to make a decision based on these. You want to do your thorough product research, but this is going to give you a good idea. You know, so for here, for example, it says there's too many competitors. You know, so you may want to narrow down on the search that you're doing and get into specifics. But looking at this, it's indicating that it's not something that you would want to get into. It's too competitive. And as with the Jungle Scout Chrome extension as well, it's going to allow you to download it. I always download these as CSV files just as a backup more than anything. I'm not saying that these Chrome extensions won't work in the future or anything like that, but if you can pull the data out and save it to your computer, it's going to save you a lot of potential headaches in the future. So if you click on this, it's just going to simply download it as a CSV file, and then you can just go save it into the various different folders that you need to. And as with all of these can all be sorted just by clicking on the top of the column. So revenue is always one that I'm focused on. You can click on it, sort it, ascending, descending, whatever it is that you want to be reviewing. But you know, with this one, you can see that the top seller is about 80 grand a month, and they're making 893 sales a month. So I won't make this video too long. I wanted to just make it a quick overview, and obviously you can then go download it yourself if you want to and discover it for yourself, play around with it, see how you feel it is. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I know what it's like when you're first starting out. You may not necessarily have a huge budget, you're not making any money yet, so this is a free alternative. I'll leave a link in the description, and then if you want to go download it and check it out, you can. And this is just one piece of what Helium10 offer. They offer an entire suite. If I just close this down, go up to the Chrome extension, and then launch the Helium10 Tools. Now this is not free, but it's well worth the money. I pay for this each and every month, and I would pay 10 times what they ask. This really is invaluable. I won't go through each of all of these. I've made various different videos on them explaining what all the various different things are, or most of them at least. And I'll also maybe put a card up the top. If you're watching on mobile, you can click on that and then go through, check out the playlist. But these tools are hugely powerful, particularly Black Box, Magnet and Cerebro. Just to give you a very brief overview, Black Box is going to be your product research, and that is again comparable to the Jungle Scout web app in that you're going to be able to go in and search and really zero in, eliminating all the products that you don't want and really zeroing in on the ones that you do, and it's going to give you a ton of suggestions that you never even thought of. Magnet, this is very useful when you come to be doing your keyword research. So really, once you've found a product and it's on the way and you're creating your listing in your Seller Central, you're going to be wanting to find the best keywords, and a combination of these two is going to allow you to do this. This is the reverse ASIN lookup, and what that basically means is you can go and get an ASIN number from a competitor product, plug it in, run a search, and then it pulls all the keywords out of that competitor listing and provides you with a list of all the keywords that your competitors are using, and then you can extract those out and then you can put them in the back end and the listing of your own product listing when you come to write that, so you know that your listing is as optimized as possible for its keywords. So I won't take any more of your time. If you're anything like me, you're impatient and you're just waiting for the video to end so you can go check out the Chrome extension yourself. So as I say, I'll leave a link down in the description. You can go check that out if you want to. Thanks for watching.